Welcome to the 129th edition of Pro Wrestling Majestic Again. I am Tigerhite.
And I am Peanut Gallery.
So, we're going to go right into it because, to be honest with you, within the world of wrestling this week, other than Raw and maybe SmackDown, everything else was so inconsequential, it felt like a nothing burger. I mean, Impact had one of their weird gimmicky things, so I didn't even bother watching that. But let's talk about Raw, the elephant in the room. Obviously, Randy Orton kicked off Raw. That's to be expected. They have to highlight Orton more because his return was overcasted by CM Punk.
Right.
It was a really hard one to do, but I think over the course of the week, and I'll talk about Randy Orton on SmackDown in a bit, I think Randy Orton starting SmackDown was the right call, and I think they redeemed themselves of how they booked Orton here. Mm. The Punk promo... It was there. I'll be honest with you, I've heard better. Punk saying, I'm home, I'm here to make money, not friends. It's just stuff that I've heard before.
Yeah, just don't expect Punk to drop a pipe bomb on AEW because that's just not going to happen.
No, it won't happen. It won't happen anytime soon because it's legality at this point. Mm-hmm. Maybe after the legal stuff is over, he might poke the bear.
Right.
I mean, it's not like it hasn't happened in the past.
Right.
So, there you go. There was a women's tag title match. It was whatever. Dominic Mysterio had a fairly good match with Randy Orton. Once again, emphasis on Randy, keeping him fresh. Mm-hmm. But really, other than that, there just wasn't anything. Rollins is having a world title match with Jey Uso tomorrow. And, well, if you're watching this on Monday, obviously tonight. And then Drew McIntyre is going to be the heel protagonist against Rollins after that. And also, it was a 1.884 instead of a 1.459 and a 0.65 demo instead of a 0.49. Obviously, because of CM Punk and Randy Orton.
Yeah.
But there you go. That was Raw in a nutshell. NXT, it got better in numbers, but we'll talk about that here in a second. The main event was very good. It was a fatal four-way match with Wesley, Bronson Reed, Cameron Grimes, and Johnny Gargano to determine the North American champion contender for, what is it, Deadline?
Yeah.
Yeah, Deadline. And Wesley won the match, so that's good. We had the Lexis King match with Brooks Jensen. Obviously, Lexis won, I think. Yeah, no, I think he won. Braun Breaker and Eddie Thorpe had an Iron Survivor qualifier, along with Kalani Jordan and Kiana James. They had theirs. And then there was a tag team title match. That was really about it. There were a couple of other matches, but there's nothing to really talk about on that, except for the number. It was better. Let's talk about Dynamite.
You didn't talk about the numbers, though, for NXT.
Yeah, he did. Oh, and I didn't know. NXT had 659,000 instead of 622 and a 0.18 instead of a 0.19. So slightly better, but lower on demo. Anyway, let's go into Dynamite. Dynamite had an 858,000 instead of an 845 and a 0.29 instead of a 0.26. So it was better. And the matches overall, quality-wise, were much better. Mm-hmm. I think everything here worked to the advantage of everybody, including the Continental Classic. Still no evidence of the title yet, but the main event now for Ring of Honor's Ring of Honor is the women's title match between Billie Starkz and Athena. No exposure on AEW Dynamite, Collision, Rampage whatsoever, and that's the main event of that show. Please, somebody just kill this company. I mean, it's so sad of where Ring of Honor was and where it is now. It's so abysmal. This is not Ring of Honor. This is Dark with a reskin. Yeah. It's essentially that. And I can see the frustration from Athena. She wants to be on AEW's show. It would get more exposure for whatever they're doing on Honor Club, because clearly the Ronda Rousey shit didn't work.
Right.
She was only there because of vanity, because Marina Shafir needed a partner, even though she's been tagging with Nyla Rose this entire time. But let's bring in Ronda Rousey for this one match on Honor Club that nobody cares about. How about we have that match on Dynamite? Maybe people will actually watch it and get interested in the Ring of Honor product. This shit's not hard. God. The Hardys and Brother Zane took on Action Andretti and Top Flight. And obviously, I bring that one up not because of the match. It was a nothing burger. But Matt Hardy's frustrations with this company booking with Jeff. Mm-hmm. You have the Hardy Boys, and people were jerking themselves off about the Hardy Boys. Oh my God, they're there, they're doing this. Well, Matt Hardy can barely fucking move. And Jeff is probably another month or two away from a TMZ article.
Right.
So he should not expect them to be treated like the 90s. This is not the 90s anymore, dude. You're not in TNA. You're not the Broken Hardys.
Right.
You're nostalgia. That's
right.
it. I wish you were the Broken Hardys. At least it would be something different. But no, that's not what's happening here. Julia Hart and Emi Sakura had a fucking awful match. This match was horrendous. That moonsault that Julia Hart did was awful. And she tried to do this match well, but Emi Sakura, she might be a great trainer, but her best days are behind her. She is not a good wrestler, like at all, period. But like I said, the Continental Classic matches were good, especially the Jay White Swerve Strickland match. That was the main event. And then, obviously, I'm leaving out Christian Cage and Edge's segment. Because
Adam Copeland.
Muscle memory. So, Christian Cage and Adam Copeland are having their TNT Championship match.
Next week.
Next week.
Yeah.
They're doing it next week.
Do you think they'd wait until World's End, right?
I think they're done. I think after that, I mean, didn't they want to face each other for a title?
Yeah.
For their last match?
Yeah.
What are we getting next week? Christian Cage versus Edge for the title.
Adam Copeland.
I keep doing that. It's instilled in my head. Oh my God, the marketing works, doesn't it? It's like, it's Edge. I refuse to believe it. I'm calling them by their slave names from now on. So instead of Swerve Strickland, it's Isaiah Swerve Scott. John Moxley, it's Dean Ambrose.
Yeah,
I'm just going to do that from now on. I feel like that'd be a really bad idea because it would just go right in my head. But yeah, it was a much better Dynamite. I mean, other than the issues that are going to go with that, I think overall the match quality, the structure, and everything was better despite that garbage TBS title match. And that was the first one with Julia Hart too. Anyway, I ended up bad. So we got to talk about the SmackDown numbers from last week. 789,000 and a .24 demo. That's not good. Even on F1.
FS1.
Huh?
Oh, FS1.
Is it FS1?
I think so.
I'm pretty sure it's only F. Or maybe it's because the F1 race was here.
Yeah.
Anyway, Randy Orton signing with SmackDown, 100% the right choice. It keeps him away from Punk. It's putting him on a pedestal, and it's going to continue his rivalry with the Bloodline. The Bloodline took him out for 18 months. It would be natural for him to have this sort of thing. Will he and Reigns have the match for Royal Rumble? Maybe. Probably. I think if Randy Orton's not going to win the Royal Rumble, it would probably be the best idea out of the bunch. The SmackDown segment was good with Randy Orton. He signed. He gave Nick Aldis an RKO. I loved it. Bianca Belair and Kairi Sane, despite that one move. People bitch about Kairi with one slip. It's like, dude. A, it was one, and the rest of the match was fine. B, I could probably find a botch from your favorite wrestler. Give me 5 minutes.
Right.
Give me 5 minutes in Google, and I can find a wrestler with a bad match. It happens, you know? They're still human. Logan Paul and Kevin Owens, it looks like that's the direction they're going, but there is this big United States champion tournament that they're doing, which I think is great. It puts everybody... Gives everybody something to do. There was going to be an NXT star called up into this tournament, which I think is good. And I said before, don't be Carmelo Hayes and do not be Trick Williams. They cannot be distracted with their rivalry. Have it be Braun Breaker. It's the most logical choice right now. And really, everything else was Damage Control centric. Butch and Bobby Lashley had a good match, and Santos Escobar and Joaquin Wilde had a surprisingly good match. Joaquin Wilde is so underrated as a competitor. This is his first singles match in, I think, 4 years. He's been teaming with Cruz del Toro that entire time. So this was a very big thumbs up, and Santos won. So, but nobody looked bad. Nobody looked weak on this show. LA Knight helped Randy Orton, continuing his stuff. He's still up there, and he's still very popular. Randy's not going to overshadow LA, and vice versa. So, good SmackDown overall. Hopefully the numbers did better. I mean, they can't go any less than that. I mean, Dynamite beat them, for God's sake. I don't know why, though. Anyway, let's get into Powerrr. Powerrr was... it was Powerrr. It was a lot better than last week, but that's saying that this shit is better than that shit. But I did like the main event. It looks like Tim Storm is no longer going to be a commentator. He is going to be a full-time competitor. But if Tim Storm decides to retire again, he would be a valuable asset to any company as a commentator. He is very good. He has credibility. And he's very good at explaining why wrestlers are doing this.
Right.
And I watched this interview with Jim Cornette, and I know some people have mixed opinions about Jim Cornette, but he likes wrestlers as commentators because they can explain the why, not the what, the why. And I think that's really valuable, especially if they're color, especially.
Oh, yeah, because that's their job is to explain the why.
Right.
So
having,
the play-by-play literally is...
That's why Jim Ross and Jerry the King Lawler worked so well. Jim Ross was the play-by-play. No, Jerry was. He couldn't explain it because Jerry was a former wrestler. So JR leading the pack and Jerry being his core host worked really, really well. Same thing with Michael Cole and Taz.
Right.
That was a great team.
Or Michael Cole and JBL.
Right.
Or now we have Corey Graves and Michael Cole on pay-per-view or premium
on
events.
SmackDown. Right. So there is a great dynamic with all of these. And look who's the one who's on the side. It's a former wrestler. So that's always 100%.
Anyways, let's get back to the actual freaking...
right.
Yeah.
Well... Tim Storm should stay within commentary because his best days are behind him as it relates to being a wrestler.
Nice tangent there, Tigerhite. Carry on.
Yes, and that's what I'm doing. It's that he should be there because his in-ring skills are not great. He is hurting.
We're not talking about...
I'm talking about the match.
What match?
He was in a match.
With who?
He was with Jack Stane taking on Burchell and Trevor Murdoch. That's what I'm talking. I'm talking about the main event of this match, of the show.
You weren't really talking about the match. You were talking about commentary.
Right. I was talking about commentary because I went on a tangent,
yes.
and I went back into it because it was relevant to the conversation.
So carry on with your
Trevor Murdoch having a temper tantrum and throwing the referee was the perfect thing because right now it was Jack Stane, Tim Storm, Burchell, so Paul Burchell actually competed on this show, and Trevor Murdoch. Nobody got pinned. Nobody looked weak. The match was fine. And also, Jack Stane did the majority of the wrestling for Tim Storm. So there you go. But the problem now that I see is the why did they have this match? Because there was no tournament. It looks like Dane and Storm are going to be teammates for a while, which I'm okay with. But then with Burchell and then Trevor Murdoch having a temper tantrum, I just don't see the direction that they're going.
Yeah, I guess we'll see.
Right? Kenzie Page's promo was a whatever sandwich. Really, the Brian Idol, Natalia Markova, and then Camille and Tom Latimer. Mixed tags are fine. I'm not knocking them. And I do like that Camille is doing more heel tactics. I like the direction for Camille. Keeps her out of the title picture. But where do you go from here as it relates to this power couple? Are they just going to have matches against each other this entire time? Because after a while, that's going to get kind of old. My point here is that there's not really direction of what NWA is thinking. And they used to be really, really good at that. And, their next pay-per-view is going to be right around the corner here. I think it's called Pinora or something like that because they're following Smashing Pumpkins. And that is a pay-per-view. That's going to come up here quick. And don't just book matches because you got to have a direction on why you're booking the matches. That's what these shows are for. And you're not doing that with this. It was a better show, but we need a better direction. This is not a good direction. So that was not only a Tigerhite tangent, but also Tigerhite's Soapbox. Peanut Gallery, do you have anything to add before we get into the match?
Nope, but we're going to go to the match.
The match is going to be very interesting.